What is up? What is up? Welcome back to another episode of Talkative. Thank you guys for joining me here today. Yes, I know it's been a week. We didn't get no episode last week, and that's because I had issues with storage. I literally cannot record anything because I cannot save it because my computer was fried. Literally no storage on my computer left at all. So I had to buy and order an external hard drive, which got here last week, and I had to set that up. So that was the reason why I couldn't really record anything for you guys last week, but we're back now and we're ready to go. This is a 4 terabyte drive, so in terms of storage, like when it comes to storage, I feel like I should have no problems whatsoever. So we should be smooth sailing with podcasting and just recording and just getting the content out there for a very long time. I'm talking about 1 or 2 years or a couple of years, depending on how I utilize that storage and how much of that storage I use up already. So we should be good to go on that front. And for this week, just a little bit of announcement. This week could be a double upload week. I don't know that yet. Don't quote me on that because I don't know if I'm going to upload the second episode that I'm going to be recording this week as well on the same week, so back to back. So just keep that in mind that you guys will probably get back-to-back episodes, just probably not in the same week because I do have to edit them. I have to edit the audios for Spotify, so it's time consuming. It takes a lot more work to really try to bang out 2 episodes in 1 week. So just letting you guys know that back-to-back episodes, starting with this one for this week, we're going to be discussing a pretty eventful weekend for professional wrestling in the sense of pay-per-views and a lot of drama, particularly with AEW and their backstage situation with CM Punk and the executive presidents, vice presidents, and a few other talent members. It's a lot going on, and it's out of control with backstage at AEW. But with that being said, this will be a wrestling talk for those who follow me and know me and have been listening to the podcast. And if you like wrestling, I've been very open and vocal about that. I've had multiple segments with professional wrestling. Professional wrestling for me is one of the things that I grew up with, one of the things that I thoroughly enjoy and have a passion for. So I've been making it very vocal here in Talkative, talking about pro wrestling. So to start off, where do I even start? Do you guys want to hear about the drama with AEW, or should we start off discussing Clash of the Castle? You know what? We're starting off with the drama. Because, ladies and gentlemen, Phillip Brooks, aka CM Punk, has literally imploded. Now, many people have been saying online on Twitter and like other social media platforms that there's a lot of content creators out there. Shout out to What Culture Wrestling, by the way. They're amazing people, great guys, that have been spreading information that isn't really confirmed. That they're just spreading information from all the dirt sheets and all the people that write random articles that aren't even credible. So, I mean, if you want to take it with a grain of salt, I'm just relaying information that's been going around and all the drama that's been happening. I'm not necessarily confirming anything that's happened or saying that, hey, this legitimately happened. It's crazy. There should be precautions. There should be things done to the people that did the drama and started everything, all the altercations. It's the AEW. AEW's been in a rocky spot lately. Particularly, not much with some of the booking decisions recently have been questionable. But in terms of like environment and workspace and workplace overall, it's been crazy. I mean, if you want to start off with the whole debacle that former Ring of Honor World Champion had with Tony Khan, the argument that he had with Tony Khan, and eventually leading him to asking for his release. We spoke about that a few episodes back. If you guys want to catch that episode, I'll probably leave a link here as well. But yeah, starting from that point, and even before that, it's been so many miscommunication and altercations between talent and management and higher ups that this right here was the icing on the cake. So if you guys don't know, for those of you who are wrestling fans and watched All Out, CM Punk, so this is going to be like a little bit of an all out discussion and discussing the backstage crap that's been going on at AEW at the same time. CM Punk beat Jon Moxley for the I almost said Ring of Honor, for the All Elite Wrestling world championship, and he became the second two-time world champion for the company, because you can count Jon Moxley's interim title reign as well as like a second title reign that he obtained. But yeah, he beat Jon Moxley in the main event of All Out, which, by the way, it was a great show. Some questionable decisions were made. I feel like some matches in that show were unnecessary and could have been kept behind closed doors and maybe not shown on TV at all, but we'll get there. We'll get there once we discuss All Out a little bit more. But Punk beating Moxley, and not moments later, Tony Khan usually likes to do these media scrums and these press conferences after every major show, which are great, by the way. If you guys don't watch any press conference, even in any combat sport, boxing or MMA, press conferences really bring about the drama and the rivalry between athletes and fighters in that sense. So in this case, for pro wrestling, and I know what people are going to say too, all pro wrestling is scripted, all pro wrestling, it's predetermined. Listen, movies are fake. Movies are fake, alright? This is my only argument. This is the only suitable argument to this statement. Movies are fake. You still watch them. You still enjoy them. You still get excited. You still cry when your favorite character dies in a movie. Point blank. Enough said about that. But, besides that, yeah, I mean, press conferences and just overall media scrums for any combat sport it's a good thing. It brings about more drama. It brings about more intensity, more questions, like the wondering questions, like what's gonna happen next, or who's gonna be affected after this, how is he gonna respond, etc., etc. So press conferences are always a good thing, and Tony Khan has been doing them ever since for every major AEW pay-per-view. And with this one, with All Out, when CM Punk came out, dude, I'm telling you, we don't know for sure if this was a work or a shoot. For those of you who are not aware, a work is something that is done purposely to set up for another storyline or another purpose, another motive. So, for example, MJF, which, by the way, MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, returned at All Out. We'll get to that in a second. There's just so much to talking about that I'm like jumping around. I'm sorry for jumping around. It's just a lot that's happened this past weekend. But when he had cut that promo months before he, went on a hiatus and disappeared, that wasn't necessarily a shoot. It may have sounded like a shoot. It may have sounded like he was pissed off at Tony Khan and everybody else. But it was a work. It was a work that led up to the finish of All Out, which again we'll get to in a second. But when it comes to CM Punk, and if you guys know, CM Punk has a reputation of being really controversial, and I'm gonna be honest here, he's a great, listen, you can't take nothing away from CM Punk legacy wise, in-ring wise, promo wise. But when it comes to the work environment and working with him backstage, like off camera, off show, off TV, he could be a pretty hard person to work with, based on things that have happened and things that are happening right now in AEW. But when CM Punk came out at that media press conference, that media scrum, he just shot over everybody. Colt Cabana, Scott Colton, which is his real name, Hangman Page, the executive vice presidents, which, if you guys don't know, the people who had the power of that role were Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, the Elite. So he was going after everybody, no remorse. If you guys haven't seen the media scrum for AEW All Out, watch it, because you'll see what I mean when I say he had no remorse, no mercy towards these people. Oh, excuse me, one bit, like at all. Like, it's safe to say that CM Punk does not determine Colt Cabana, Hangman Adam Page, or any of the executive vice presidents as their colleagues or friends, like, at all. And people are like, okay, but we don't know if this could be a work, this could be a shoot. You don't really know. But in my honest opinion, when I watched that segment of CM Punk at the media scrum, I'm like, no, bro, this is not a work. This is not a work. He's literally going off, expressing all of these emotions towards Colt Cabana and just everything that he feels. Bro, swearing and all, like, he did not give a damn at that press conference. And that's just one thing. Supposedly, there's been reports and rumors and speculation saying that there was a backstage brawl between Ace Steel, coach of CM Punk, trainer of CM Punk, and Punk himself, and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. A literal physical altercation that led to Ace Steel biting and pulling on Kenny Omega's hair. Again, these are all reports and speculations, but it's more reports are coming out. Like, this is a developing story. More reports have been coming out, more tweets have been going out by multiple sources. Pretty much, I think this is pretty much credible. And, you know, I'm going to start off by saying I'm not going to defend Punk and by any means. This is not a episode to really put the defense onto Punk, because yes, I know he can be a very hard person to work with based on what we've seen. And this is just not safe for work. I mean, this is not a work environment that you constantly want to be in. Miscommunication, drama, physical altercation, having vendettas against one another. This is not a work environment that anyone would want to be in. I mean, let's say combat sports or sports aside, let's say you're just working a regular, you know, job or like a career, and you see managers and employees just constantly arguing, and employees rebelling against managers, saying, okay, this is unfair, this shouldn't be right, these policies are complete BS, whatever the argument is about. Imagine you going to work every single day and you constantly seeing like or hearing about your higher ups, your manager getting cursed at by employees, and seconds later you'll see an argument with like 200 employees. Just imagine like the mental state that you would have to deal with that type of stuff. And it applies the same thing here. I mean, obviously the backstage, the work environment backstage for AEW has been a hot mess, and we can't deny that. And yes, like I said, we have to be realistic about this, and we have to tell ourselves, okay, we have to see who the aggressor is in this case. We have to see who's the one responsible for all this altercation. And we got to be straight up bold. We got to be straight up honest and say, okay, if Punk is responsible for all of this, Punk needs to have repercussions towards him. He needs to, you know, deal with the consequences. And that's what a lot of people are saying, that Tony Khan needs to put his boots on the ground. He needs to put his foot on the ground, be a little bit more stern, be a little bit more like a boss that he's supposed to be represented as, and give CM Punk what he deserves in this sense. I mean, look, again, I'm not defending Punk. I'm a huge fan of CM Punk. I can't deny that. But if Punk is causing a lot of commotion and controversy backstage, it has to be said, and it has to be said in the most honest way possible. You're the problem, and if this crap keeps up with any more of the talent or the higher ups and the people that are higher than Punk in this sense, then something gotta give. And that something could potentially be a release, or Punk quitting AEW. But it's crazy, like that whole side of the story, we don't know what's going to happen next. We don't know what the fate of Punk is, or his tenure in AEW, or even the AEW World Championship. We don't know. And this backstage brawl and this physical altercation between all these men, you know, lead to more questions. Like I said, what's going to happen next? Like, we don't know what's going to happen, or we don't know what Tony Khan is going to do to deal with the situation. But crazy stuff. I thought I wanted to start off with that because obviously this is the development story. Fightful Select, War Culture, Pro Wrestling are all covering this stuff. And again, people are mad because they say that people just cover stuff that isn't really credible and they just want content out of it. Look, we're not purposely trying to cover this stuff because, I'm saying they're not trying to cover this stuff because they just want to get content out of it. They're just relaying information. They are clueless, just like everybody else. They don't know if this brawl actually went the way that it's being described as. But as the days go on, as the hours go on, and more stories are being written, more articles are being posted, then we're starting to learn a little bit more. I'm going to have to read more on the situation to see what's been going on and what's been confirmed. But that's kind of the scoop right now on how the backstage environment has been in AEW overall a hot mess. I mean, not to mention the drama between Eddie Kingston and Sammy Guevara, Thunder Rosa and Jamie Hayter. Those two literally despise the crap of one another. And it's just chaotic. It's chaotic in the backstage world of AEW, and I hope Tony Khan can find a way to deal with this situation, because like I said, a unsafe working environment is never a good working environment. You don't want to deal with a constant working environment of arguing, altercations, confrontation, whatever the case may be. It's not a good working environment, and especially when you're coming from another place or from another wrestling company, or let's say you're starting off as a wrestler and you start off in AEW, and your first backstage or working environment impression of AEW is like, damn, where's the control here? Why does everybody have problems with one another? You know, where's the maintenance? Like, how are we gonna manage this? Where's the managing and all this? You know, yeah, it's just crazy. And I just wanted to start off with that. I just spent 16 minutes alone talking about that one particular story. That's how you know that this crap. We can have a whole 30-minute discussion about this, but I'm not, because we have to cover Clash of the Castle and my thoughts on All Out as well. Now, since we're talking about AEW, we're gonna move on to All Out. Like I said, great show, phenomenal show, but some questionable booking decisions. Yes, there's some things that I kind of was scratching my head about and kind of wondering, like, why was this even done? For example, Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs, their match, it was a literal squash match. I was expecting them to really give Ricky Starks his moment, especially against a former partner and now his rival, but they kind of just made Powerhouse Hobbs look really strong in this sense and have him get over in the squash with Ricky Starks. Not my ideal thing to do, especially how good Ricky really is as a singles competitor. I would have gave Ricky Starks a little bit more time in the ring. I knew he wasn't going to win that match. I knew Powerhouse Hobbs was going to win it, but I wanted to give Ricky a little bit more ring time in that match. I don't know why they decided to go with squash, but nevertheless, Powerhouse Hobbs won that match. Not my most favorite match on the show, but he still got the win. Still managed to look strong. Still, like I said, it's kind of sad that Ricky had to go out like that. Anyways, that's gonna have to be cut out too. Yeah. Kind of questionable on my end, but kind of makes sense at the same time. Obviously, you want to make the bigger star look extremely strong in this sense, so you go with the squash. But yeah, not my favorite match, but it is what it is. Let me just address the big elephant in the room when it comes to the match card in that pay-per-view, and that is the World Tag Team Championship match. The Acclaimed versus Swerve and Our Glory. That match was literally match of the night. That was a phenomenal match, start to finish. So many near falls, so many good spots, so many good maneuvers done. So many moments where I thought, yo, the Acclaim has won the belts. They won this match. But no, they came up short. And overall, that match was phenomenal. The crowd were into it, dude. Pop after pop after pop, near fall, back and forth between these two teams. And I said these teams never faced each other, but in that match, you know what makes about a good match in any pro wrestling company or pro wrestling in general? When you have two competitors that haven't been able to develop that much chemistry over the course of their time period competing, and just in the first few matches that they have, they show this random amount of chemistry that you would never think that they would have, and that overall sets the tone for the entire match. And that's kind of how it was with this tag match. These two, it felt like they've been fighting for years. I mean, it felt like this is like the Usos versus the New Day, for example, or the Briscoes versus the Young Bucks. I mean, these teams went at war, bro. This match was so good. Shout out to the Acclaim, very underrated team. Anthony Bowens and Max Caster, very funny, hilarious team. They really show that they're not all about the rap jokes and the comedy. They're about the wrestling. They're really good as a tag team. So they went crazy during this match. Kudos to them. Great match from both teams. Swerve Our Glory came out on top, retained the titles, and like I said, for me, that was match of the night contender, and for a lot of people actually, that match was awesome. Now we're gonna jump to the opener, which was the Casino Ladder match. I'm forgetting the full name. The Casino Ladder match, which has like a poker. It's pretty much like Money in the Bank, but AEW's version of it. But it's cool because the contenders come out every couple of seconds, so it's like a Royal Rumble type feel to it. It's not like everybody's competing all at the same time as soon as the match begins. Every couple of minutes, a new competitor comes into the ring, and the last competitor is like a mystery competitor, which they refer as the Joker card, which is kind of like a gimmick to that match. So it's like Money in the Bank, but there's some differences there as well. So this one was interesting because at first I kind of, again, very questionable booking decisions, but then at the end it all made sense. At first I was like, okay, why did they have Stokely come out with his little group of people that he's been recruiting and interfere in the match and have Stokely go up the ladder and win and take the poker chip, which is like the contract of a world title match. I was so confused at first, and then the Joker ended up being a masked man who was with Stokely, and he won the match. The Joker, who wasn't revealed, won the match. Everybody was confused, including myself. I was like, what the hell is going on here? And of course, over time, that ended up being revealed. But yeah, that alone, I mean, the match was great, but it ended up being really short because of that. But again, good booking, good storytelling. It all made sense in the end. Overall, the match was great. If there was any other person that should have won that match, in my opinion, it should have been Andrade. If they didn't do what they did, Andrade should have won that match easily because Andrade is a really talented wrestler, amazing talent. He is so underutilized. I'm gonna be honest. I love AEW. I love what they've been doing, but he is one of the most underutilized talents in that company at the moment. Excuse me. Along with Malachi Black, who is recently, on some other news, going to transition to some other news, recently asked for his release because he doesn't feel happy in the company anymore. Another underutilized talent with an underutilized faction. I feel like this faction, the House of Black, has a lot more to offer and a lot more to put on the table, but they haven't had the chance to really shine yet in terms of like championship gold even. Malachi Black has been in the company for more than a year, and he hasn't even had an opportunity. I mean, he had an opportunity in the All Atlantic Championship tournament, but other than that, he hasn't really had a major championship shot, like an AEW World Title shot, or even like a mid-card title shot at all. And people are very verbal about that, and they say, hey, Malachi Black is an extremely talented striker, great wrestler, has a great creative mind. Where's his chance? Where's his time to shine? Where's his title? Like, people have been wanting Malachi Black to have a championship for the longest now, and just nothing. So he's one of the people, again, who have been underutilized. Again, we got to be really honest here about this. We can't be sugarcoating the stuff that these wrestling companies are flaw in or committing mistakes in, and that is how they use their talent. He's another one of them. So it's going to be interesting to see what unfolds with him. People have been saying that it could be personal issues, but it could be that he's not really happy in AEW as well. So we'll see how that unfolds. We'll see what happens with Malachi in a few coming months. But yeah, in terms of Andrade, I feel like Andrade should have been the one to win that match if they didn't go about with the booking decision that they went for to end off the match. But yeah, that match was good. It was starting to get really good, but after that, it kind of ended up short. So not one of the best matches in the card so far. But let's see, what else? Oh, the Women's Championship Fatal 4-Way. Shout out to Toni Storm. Congratulations, Toni Storm, for becoming the new interim. I know people have their opinions on how AEW has been dealing with the term interim and their influence in the interim champions, but you know, I mean, it is what it is. It's what they're booking. I understand that Tony Storm could have fought for the real championship. Now that Thunder Rosa is injured, Thunder Rosa should have easily just relinquished the title. I get it, but there's a reason to it. I think Tony Khan specified why he's doing interim titles and interim championship matches. But me, if I had to give my take on that, I feel like I'm with the people here. I feel like if you're gonna be out in injury for a long time, and you know you're not gonna have the time to defend your title, then why even bother booking an interim title match? Just have the former champion relinquish the title, and just go about the match. Have the match be for the only real championship, and don't have a temporary champion until the real champion comes back. Constantly. I mean, that's the second time that they're doing that now. Who knows if they're going to do it again? Hopefully not. Hopefully this is the last time they ever touch the term interim. And, you know, have wrestlers actually relinquish the title. As much as it sucks, yes, I know. If I was an athlete in that position and I had to relinquish a championship, it would stink. You know, if it's boxing, MMA, or pro wrestling, I understand that. But it's just less of a hassle. And it's not as annoying as preferring somebody as the interim world champion, you feel me? But either way, great match, phenomenal match from all four of these women. I really wanted Jamie Hayter to win though. Jamie Hayter was like the fan favorite in this match. I'm telling you, they're in Chicago, so if you guys know, Chicago is one of the best, most vocal, most expressive wrestling crowds there is out there. And throughout this entire match, they were chanting Jamie Hayter. So she was obviously the fan pick and the fan favorite to win that match. Obviously she didn't, but on some other stuff during that match as well, since Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter have an alliance, they're team members. There was a part of the match where Britt Baker completely disregarded all of that and attacked Jamie Hayter, and seemed like a heel turn, like a backstab to Jamie. But we don't know that yet. Dynamite's tomorrow. We'll see what happens tomorrow night at Dynamite. But yeah, overall it was a good match, great match. Shida is a phenomenal wrestler, phenomenal striker. Nevertheless, congrats to Toni Storm for becoming the new interim Women's World Championship. On some other questionable booking decisions, but yet booking decisions that made sense. That's kind of the motif here with AEW recently. They make crazy booking decisions, right? In terms of segments or match results, but at the end of the day, it kind of all makes sense. So, Jungle Boy and Christian. So, if you know, Jungle Boy and Christian used to be together. They used to be allies, along with Luchasaurus and Marco Stunt, who is in AEW at the moment. But just a few months back, Christian had turned his back on Jungle Boy and attacked him from behind, and turned heel. And for months, they've been feuding, very personal hitting promos to one another. Christian firing in at Jungle Boy firing in at Christian back. It was an amazing feud leading up to this match. But when the match happened in All Out a couple of nights ago, it was again very crazy. Luchasaurus came from so one thing I want to explain about AEW, which is really unique. AEW has two entrance ways, two ways where the wrestlers go through. One on the left is considered the entrance way for the heels, because, you know, left is considered negative, red, bad, and then right is like the good side. So the entrance tunnel on the left is for all the heels, and the entrance tunnel on the right is for all the faces, all the baby faces. So that's why it's easier to identify who's the face and who's the heel in the rivalry, and this is really cool. So when Jungle Boy is making his entrance and he walks over to the face tunnel to see if Luchasaurus is coming out, he doesn't see him and he's confused. And then as the camera kind of like zooms out, you see Luchasaurus walking behind Jungle Boy and grabbing him to go for a chokeslam, chokeslamming him through a pyro mechanism, like a pyro machine, and you could see all the welts on Jungle Boy's back, and it was just crazy. But it was kind of to be expected. I did not expect Luchasaurus to really, be on Jungle Boy's side anytime sooner, considering that he was still wearing black attire, and usually, black is like a major part of symbolism when it comes to identifying who's the heel as well. So he was still wearing his black attire that he wore with Christian. So then people already just wondered, okay, he's not gonna be with Jungle Boy any longer because he's still wearing black, so it just doesn't make sense. So him chokeslamming him and just beating the crap out of him before the match even started made sense, and Christian just beats Jungle Boy with a spear, kill switch, 1, 2, 3. But again, all of it just made sense because we knew that Luchasaurus was still going to be aligned with Christian, not with Jungle Boy anytime soon. So Luchasaurus is still a heel, and they're still running that duo. And yeah, I mean, again, questionable, but it made sense along the lines of that. So that was that match. So Christian beats Jungle Boy with a spear and a kill switch. What else am I missing here? Oh, real quick, I mean, the pre-show. It's crazy to see that when a company does good match quality, good pay-per-view quality, that their pre-show also shares that same energy. It's just crazy to me. This pre-show was probably one of the best pre-shows for any major pay-per-view ever. By the way, I'm Kip Sabian all the way. Kip Sabian is extremely talented. I became a fan at the pre-show at All Out. He's really good. And amazing attire, amazing presentation. That match was good. Kip Sabian versus Pac for the All-Atlantic world title. The All-Atlantic Championship. And Orange Cassidy, after the match, post-match, came out and confronted Pac. And we're going to have a title match between those two. Orange Cassidy and Pac. I think tomorrow at Dynamite. So yeah, that was a great match. Tomohiro Ishii versus Eddie Kingston. Now, I was watching this match live on YouTube, and usually they have the pre-shows live on YouTube with live chat and everything like a stream. I was watching the comments during the stream, and people were crapping all over this match because there was a lot of just like chops and strikes and punches and forearms. And yes, they did kind of go crazy with the chops. They did too many chops, if that. But man, will I tell you, the last 5 to 10 minutes of this match were completely hard hitting. Now, if you guys don't watch New Japan Pro Wrestling, which I highly suggest you do, Tomohiro Ishii, well, they're all pretty stiff, because the thing about Japanese strong style is more tailored to like the striking side of things for professional wrestling. So a good majority of the New Japan roster is pretty stiff when it comes to striking. But Tomohiro Ishii is just crazy with his forearms and chops. He takes it all in. Like, he asks the opponent, chop me, punch me, do whatever you want. He just eats it all up, dude. Dude, that match was just a slugfest. So, pretty good match as well. Overall, the pre-show was enjoyable. And can you imagine, again, when the main card and the pre-show share the same energy, why wouldn't you be hyped way before the pre-show? Like, this was, from head to toe, a great appetizer, so to speak, for the main course, the main plate, the main meal, which is the main card. So, great that AEW puts in the same energy in their pre-shows as they do in their main cards to get fans hyped, to get fans ready to what's to come. So that was great. Also, what else do I want to talk about regarding to the show? Oh yeah, kind of like the bad of the show, right? I feel like the 6-man tag match between Pinnacle, or aka FTR and Wardlow, and Jay Lethal and Motor City Machine Guns from Impact Wrestling, that match to me was just unnecessary. They could have just had that match on Dynamite or Rampage on weekly television. That match just felt like slow, boring, like it wasn't needed. I mean, the wholesome moments with Dax Harwood and his daughter were awesome. Having his daughter out there share a moment in the ring and just share a moment with all those wrestlers. It was great to see, really wholesome. Great to see. You always appreciate moments like that when it comes to like pro wrestlers sharing moments with kids and people who are much younger than them, especially if it's their own kids. An example that I can think of, an obvious example when it comes to All Elite Wrestling, is Luke Harper, aka, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I'm having a big brain fart. Brody Lee. Why did I forget Brody Lee? Okay, yeah, with Luke Harper, FKA Brody Lee, and his son. AEW was extremely supportive. I'm just going to quickly mention this. AEW was extremely supportive when Brody Lee unfortunately passed away, and the amount of support that they gave to his son, Brody Lee Jr., was just phenomenal. And the moments that he shared with the Dark Order, being an honorary or a legit Dark Order member in -1, and just, you know, all the hugs and love that they had for Brody Lee Jr. was just amazing. So seeing moments like these are great to see, even from a fan perspective. Like, I know a lot of people watch wrestling solely for the wrestling, but you gotta take this into mind and know that these wrestlers, these performers, are real humans too, and they have real life situations, they have families and stuff like that. So having these moments live on TV is always a little nice, wholesome touch to have, even from my POV, from the viewers' POV, from the fans' POV. So it was good stuff. But yeah, overall, I think the match itself was not great. I feel like that match could have been left off the card, or maybe even the pre-show itself. I didn't really like that match, but yeah, that kind of set off the pace of the match overall. Another match that I felt was, well, me personally, I feel like that match was really short, was the TBS title match between Jade Cargill and Athena, which, by the way, Athena should have won that match easily. Wrong person won that match, in my opinion. But again, the match felt really short. The match could have won a little bit longer, but in terms of like time constraints and wrapping up all the other matches in the match card, they had to, you know, have the match be a little bit short. Again, Jade Cargill should have lost her streak right then and there. I don't know why they didn't give the title to Athena, but it is what it is. So like I said, that's kind of like the bad and the ugly booking decisions all out. But again, the tag match made up for it. The reveal of who was the Joker card made up for it. The main event was really good as well. So overall, the show was great. I'm just going to quickly mention, I'm going to wrap up this segment because I've been going at it for like 20 plus minutes. Because I still have to discuss Clash of the Castle and my thoughts on that. So just to get straight into it, the Joker ended up being MJF. MJF is officially back in all Elite Wrestling, and he's back for Championship Gold, and he's back for CM. Well, we don't. Okay, see, I can't even say that with all confidence because I don't know. I don't know what his fate is going to be in the company, but I'm gonna say he's back for that title. He's back and he's coming for the All Elite Wrestling Championship. And when I tell you, the reveal was insane. The way that they have the voicemail from Tony Khan with the beep play in the background when it was just pitch black, and him saying, okay, this is your only opportunity, I'll pay whatever money I need to pay, and I quote, he was quoted this on the voicemail, to have you back and to have you be the Joker in the Casino ladder match, but this is your only chance. And then it cuts to MJF with his mask on, turning around, taking the mask off, and putting the infamous scarf that he always wears as part of his gimmick. And as soon as the people in Chicago, the crowd in Chicago, saw that scarf, that place imploded. They knew who it was. So then his theme played, and then out came in MJF, confronted CM Punk, and that's pretty much how the show ended. But the way the lead up, the storytelling to this reveal, to this return, from the work in the promo, to Stokely and his group, to him being a mass competitor, a mass Joker card in that match, and just revealing himself last minute, was the best way to bring him back. That was phenomenal storytelling and phenomenal booking on that end. So yeah, that's how that show ended, and that's pretty much what's the icing on the cake, the cherry on top. That was perfect way to end a very, roller coaster of a pay-per-view. Apart from all the media scrum drama and the backstage drama, all that was pretty good. I enjoyed the crap out of the show. Listen, as a pro wrestling fan, I enjoy everything. I enjoy whatever I can get to enjoy. I don't criticize. I don't make fun of people for what they watch. I know the internet wrestling community is like that, and it's unfortunate that it's like that. But it is what it is. If you go on Twitter and you see how a lot of internet wrestling fans act towards one another, it's just really sad to see in that regard. But yeah. So let me just quickly transition because we're already at 4. I would have ended the episode already, but I talked so much about AEW alone. Let's talk about Clash of the Castle. Now, Clash of the Castle is WWE's first UK show in about 30 years. And man, let me just say, phenomenal show. Amazing show. Show started off with a 6-woman tag match. Damage Control, Io Sky, Bayley, Dakota Kai, versus Bianca Belair, the Raw Women's Champion, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka. Great match between these 6 women. I feel like the match was a lot of good spots. The 6-woman suplex was amazing, and the back and forth between the women too was really good. I feel like the right team won in this sense, which was Damage Control, a trio that's been building up since SummerSlam. I see a lot of great things happening with this trio. I see championship gold all over them. So it was great to see that they won their first match as a trio together. So that was a good match overall. Now the match that I'm going to quickly jump to right now, and the match that to me was match of the night for that show, was Gunther versus Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship with Imperium back. Giovanni Da Vinci, formerly known as crap, dude, I'm forgetting names. But yeah, Giovanni Da Vinci, as he's referred as now, came back with Imperium with Ludwig, aka or FKA Marcel Barthel, and Gunther. Great to see them back. A phenomenal faction in the UK, NXT UK, dominant faction. Now it's gonna be interesting to see what they do in the main roster on SmackDown. But dude, onto the match. That match was a match of the ages. Slugfest, chops, knees, clotheslines, power bombs, clubbing and blows to the chest, freaking Irish cross from the top of the rope. Dude, that match had so much intensity and just hype to it that there was no stopping these two men. I would love to see, I would pay to see a rematch between Gunther and Sheamus once again. That match was just phenomenal from start to finish. Gunther retains the title, but the very great part about this was the standing ovation that Sheamus received after the match. Big applause from the audience, big ovation. Sheamus is a huge legend in his own right. So the fact that he received this standing ovation after the match, and even if he lost the match, but it was great to see that the crowd in Wales respected this man and knew how much of a legend this man was overall. So great stuff. SmackDown Women's Championship match, Liv Morgan versus Shayna Baszler. Another great match. I feel like the right person won this one. A lot, again, internet wrestling community hating once again. A lot of people were saying that Shayna Baszler carried Liv Morgan, that Liv Morgan rarely wrestled well in that match. Listen, she's improving. In-ring ability, she's doing a lot better. I personally think that match was alright. It's a good match, good title defense by Liv Morgan. Good way to, start off a potentially great title reign that she can have with that title. And I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was the right result. It's not a bad match. Good stuff. I know seeing something like Shayna Baszler lose matches like that isn't a good thing, isn't a nice thing to see. But, I mean, are you going to have Liv Morgan drop the title that soon? No. She's going to hold that title for a very long time. Guaranteed. But yeah, that was a great match. What more am I missing? Or what more do I want to discuss? I mean, honestly, let's just jump right into the main event. Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal title. let's start off by saying that what a great way to hype up and to build up a main event title match by having Drew McIntyre, well, partially coming out to Broken Dreams, his classic, his old 2009, early 2010s theme song. And it was great. I mean, the Titantron, the Titantron package for the theme itself was phenomenal. You got moments from his like past career to like present Drew McIntyre. It was great. This really was supposed to be the hometown hero moment for Drew McIntyre, but it wasn't. And this is where I say where Clash of the Castle had a very controversial finish to their show, because honestly, Drew should have won that match. No doubt about it, Drew should have won that match. No ands, ifs, or buffs. Sorry about that. Drew McIntyre should have won that match in Wales. Should have became champion. Should have been the one to dethrone Roman Reigns and beat his championship streak for over 2 years. But he wasn't. That's because Solo Sikoa, a brother to the Usos, the third brother to the Usos, debuted and most likely will be joining the Bloodline along with the Usos and Roman, and interfered and yanked the ref out the ring right as Drew McIntyre hit the Claymore to get the 1-2-3. Interferes in the match, helps Roman win the match once again. I know a lot of people, that's like an annoyance with Roman Reigns at this point, where Roman has to have all of his family and Samoan dynasty help him win these matches. But I mean, it made sense. It was the right way to bring in Solo Sikoa and the right way to bring him to the Bloodline. But honestly, Drew McIntyre should have easily won that match. Easily won that match. No doubt about it. Okay, Seth Rollins versus Matt Riddle. Now, this is another rivalry similar to Christian and Jungle Boy, where it had a huge lead up. Obviously, Matt Riddle got injured way before their match at SummerSlam, so they couldn't have the match at SummerSlam. But this match was great also. Again, Matt Riddle, really talented. I know that a lot of people don't take Riddle serious because of his persona and the way that he presents himself, but overall, it was a great match. Matt Riddle and Seth, again, two stars that barely wrestle each other, but when they do wrestle each other, they show these high amounts of chemistry that you would never think these two would have. And that match was overall a phenomenal match. Insecurities, super kicks, counter for counter, near fall, and the match overall ending in a second rope curve stomp, which he's never really ended a match like that, and that was brilliant. Seth finally winning a match after so long of just taking L's from Cody, Roman, and everybody else. Finally trying to get that win track and trying to get those dubs back. Potentially competing for the world title once again. I know a lot of people have been very vocal about Seth Rollins obtaining a world title in WWE once again. I want to see it as well. It's been a minute since Seth has had a world title match or a world title reign in the company, so we'll see what happens with that in terms of Seth and where he goes after this huge win. Overall, great match, phenomenal match, and I really enjoyed the crap out of it. Now, this was another huge moment in the show itself. We had Edge and Rey Mysterio versus the team of Damian Priest and Finn Balor, their group. Obviously, the main part of this was Dominic Mysterio turning on Edge and his own dad, Rey Mysterio, and joining the group of Finn Balor, Rhea Ripley, and Damian Priest, turning heel for the first time. This was a huge moment. This was, for a couple of weeks now, this was speculated. This was kind of expected to happen. It was just a matter of when. When was this supposed to happen? But it finally did. Dominic turns heel. Low blows Edge. Clotheslines the crap. JBL would have been proud of him. Clotheslines the crap out of his own dad, Rey Mysterio. And yeah, Dominic is now a heel for the first time. It'll be interesting to see what Triple H and the rest of the higher-ups do with Dominic in this case, and how his heel run is going to go. Perhaps singles championship gold, or singles championship success for Dominic, since he's been known to be like a tag team talent with his dad. It's gonna be interesting to see what he does in the ring by himself, or at least, well, he's not gonna be by himself, but you know, in singles competition, not tag team competition. We're gonna see what happens there. But yeah, that was a crazy moment. I mean, again, it was an expected heel turn for Dominic Mysterio. Overall, the match itself was great. It's always great seeing legends like Rey Mysterio and Edge team up after so long. So, match was good. They took the win. Dominic turns heel. Crazy stuff. Crazy moment. But yeah, anything else that I'm missing from the show? I pretty much covered like the big main event field matches and the big matches that happened on the show. Overall, I think both shows, when we talk about like rating the shows and the pay-per-views, I think Clash of the Castle and All Out were 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10. They were equally as good, so I did not rate one higher or lower than the other because I enjoyed both. Again, if you really enjoy wrestling or any type of sport, it don't matter. Like, you don't criticize other people or criticize other shows and companies for the content that they put out because you enjoyed it yourself. So that's what matters the most. Overall, really eventful weekend, amazing weekend for wrestling, jam-packed. This is like, it's crazy when you have like 2 back-to-back main field shows, 2 different companies, and you just get to like figure out what was the best show of the weekend and talk about it like I am right now, and just have that moment of like greatness with combat sports and professional wrestling. It was a good weekend. It was a great weekend. I enjoyed it. I watched it, well, we watched it on our own regard, but we were texting about it, and my friend was like, yo, this is crazy. I feel like Clash and All Out were pretty even to me, and that's kind of how I feel about it. So yeah, that was the eventful weekend for professional wrestling. We had Clash of the Castle, first UK show in 30 years. We've had, obviously there's a lot that I didn't mention because I don't want to take more than an hour. It's already 52 minutes in because I spent like 30 minutes talking about AEW. But yeah, you had Tyson Fury having his whole fair share of moments in the show as well. Wholesome moments with Drew McIntyre towards the end. Some people called it cringe. I thought it was funny. But yeah, Tyson Fury maybe could be having a run into the ring in the next few years when he retires from boxing, but we don't know that yet. But overall, shows were great. 8.5 out of 10, both All Out and Clash of the Castle, and I enjoyed it. It was a really fun weekend. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys agree with my overall thoughts and review of the shows and the matches. Any matches that I didn't discuss or talk about, you guys can talk about in the comments below. Let me know what you think about the backstage drama with AEW and what's been developing on that side of things. And yeah, with that being said, I'll leave you guys with the disability factor of the episode. And this week, again, like I said, I'm going to be recording Apple's